Pretty bad.
Hit that time of year where we're getting a few warm days here and there. People are starting to think about it. Before we know it, it'll be time where we can hit the road and start camping. So, we'll just get right into it, I suppose. Spring rolls around. What's the first thing you do to get ready for the camping season? You gotta get dewinterized. You obviously want to watch your forecast, and we'll get to a time of year where the risk of freezing temperatures is behind us. But give you a step-by-step of process of dewinterizing. It's not terribly difficult to do, but you just got to know what to do. And place where we recommend starting is check your batteries. You may have stored your battery away from your camper through the winter. Maybe you didn't. Whatever the case is, get in there to that battery and check your water levels. Make sure everything's full of water. Check your connections. And then at that point, if you aren't already plugged into shore power, go ahead and plug into shore power. If you've got a meter and you know how to test your battery, test that and see, verify if your converter's charging, if your electrical system's working the way that it should. Go in and check your lights. Make sure they're shining bright the way they should. If you're plugged into shore, make sure your microwave has a reading on it, the clock's flashing at you. Once you get that done, then we can start on the plumbing side of things, and you can go ahead and hook it to city water if you have that available to you. Of course, you're going to want to close off your low point drains. Go ahead and turn your water on and flush all your faucets, both sides, hot and cold. Hold the pedal down on the toilet for a while, let that flush out. Go to your fresh tank. Make sure the plug's in that. You can add a product. We sell a product called Spring Fresh, but it's something you can put in the tank, kind of freshen it up. Helps with if there's any stagnant odor or anything like that from the winter. Go ahead and flush that out. If you've got water filters, that would be a good time to check those, check the condition of them. Do they need to be replaced? And then you're going to turn your water pump on, and what you're anticipating is to hear it come on, pressure up the plumbing system, and then shut back off. So check and make sure that that's what happens. Then go to your water heater, put your anode rod or your plug in it. Now here's the part that is crucial, is getting the valve set correctly on the back of your water heater. In the wintertime, when you winterize one, you put it on bypass so that water cannot get to that tank. And you've got to reverse that when you dewinterize. Open your valve to where the cold water can go into the bottom of the tank. Hot water will come out the top. As that water heater's filling now, you can even open that pop-off valve and let it vent. And whenever it fills full, you'll start to see water come out the top. You'll know your water heater is full. That stage, go ahead and light the water heater. Make sure you got hot water, everything is working the way that it should there. Of course, to do that, if you're running it on LP, you'll need to turn your LP on. Make sure you don't notice any leaks or anything like that around your LP. And that should, for the dewinterization part of it, that should have your trailer ready to go as far as the plumbing, water heater, and just getting the general things dewinterized.
DJ, how long does it take to flush all the paint antifreeze out? How long does that take, roughly?
I mean, a matter of a few minutes usually, if you're standing there watching it come out as you open your faucets up. You'll see it begin to run clear. I mean, you aren't going to stand there for 10 minutes by any means.
I do notice there's always some pink in the shower.
Yes.
Whenever, showing units.
Yes. Especially now with them being winterized, they purge that faucet a lot of times. It'll drip down in there. But yeah, when you flush those faucets, when you first start, you're going to see that antifreeze come out. Let it run until the water runs clear. Yes.
So if you all do the winterizing and dewinterizing for us, do you do all these steps?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Sure. Something that's very important, and I know we talked about it specifically in these seminars. Now's a good time to look at your tires. Can't stress enough. Check your dates on your tires, see if you notice any cracks in the sidewalls, check the pressure. As a rule of thumb, if you look at those dates on the sidewall, and the DOT will have it printed on there when those tires were manufactured, about 4 years is the lifespan. And you'll look at them and you'll think, well, the tread looks great, and it does. We rarely see trailer tires worn, the tread worn out. But it's time, it's sunlight, that's what gets into it. And it seems like about 4 years is the lifeline on there. If you're comfortable, yeah.
Do you get any more life if you cover them up all the time?
It don't hurt. It don't hurt at all. Now, that said, still once you hit that 4-year mark, you're kind of running on borrowed time a little bit. You know, I mean, it would be difficult at that stage to predict how much more life it adds to it. But yes, it certainly is a good practice if you can do that. Something else that's very important is roof. If you feel comfortable getting on your trailer or have a ladder to access the top of it, get up there and check the die core. We've got several vents coming up through the roof. We've got skylights, air conditioning, antennas, satellites. There's a lot of things up there that ultimately have access to the inside of the trailer. When they're sealed properly, everything's good. But kind of check that die core. You're looking to see if it's getting chalky, brittle. It's got cracks in the top of it. If you notice that, maybe time for a simple touch-up with some die core, or it maybe to the point where you peel the old off and reapply new.
AJ,
yes.
Sorry to be chatty this morning.
No.
Your topics of interest to me. So I read where you can take a spray bottle, maybe 1 drop of Dawn, get up there and spray around all those areas, and if they bubble, kind of like when you're checking for a leak in a tire, it would like bubble, and if it bubbles, air's getting in, and if air's getting in, water's getting in. Is that accurate or no?
So we have a process in the shop where we can remove one of the air vents from the trailer and hook a machine to it that actually will pressurize the inside of the camper. And at that point, that's exactly how we test for leaks. We go around and there's a solution we spray on, and we're looking for bubbles.
So would that work then for the everyday person that if I'm telling them to do this 4 times a year to protect their roof, is that?
The only thing that would be a little unpredictable on that is you don't have anything inside pressurizing it.
Yeah. I hear you.
You know, now that said, if you spray it and you start noticing a bunch of bubbles, yeah, it's getting the air somewhere. You know, I mean, but
if it's not effective, I don't want to be telling people to do it.
the thing that would concern me if you spray that and there's not enough pressure to make a bubble, a leak may get by you that way. But
so visual's going to be the best way.
the visual's the best, and the pliability, the feel of the sealer. You know, the fresher the better. That for the die cord, it just seals better when it's maintained.
Got a question?
Sure.
What do you charge for that? Pressure testing?
I'd have to look, but I want to say it's close to 300, I think, from start to finish on that. Seal Tech is what it's called, and it just pressurizes the inside, and then at that point you check it just like you would if you think of checking for a leak on a tire, you know, and it'll find them too. Yeah.
What's the best way to check the top if it's not designed to be walked on?
So in that instance here, we've either got portable ladders or a scissor lift. Now, homeowner probably ain't gonna have access to all of that. So at that stage, sort of a step ladder that's tall enough and secure enough that you can get up there comfortably from the side and look and see what's going on up out there. Most of the travel trailers are fifth wheels to be able to get on. There are a few out there that are not necessarily intended for you to get on, and in that instance you view it from the side and see what it
was like the vent in the middle. Is there a good way to reach it without leaning over?
So there's been times where we've ran into that where we'll take either some type of sheeting and lay it across if we've kind of got a lean to get the center area where it dispenses the weight out a little more evenly rather than centered in just one spot. So, sure. Now is a good time as you're going through everything to look for water leaks. And when you know what you're looking for in water leaks, they're not, some of them can be terribly difficult to locate, but look for water stains where your ceilings meet your walls. Touch your walls, see if there's a feeling of mushiness or softness, or same with the floors. Look around your toilet, your shower. Check your refrigerators. That's an area where there's moisture and condensation, and plus a lot of them's got vents on the backside facing outside. Look at all that and make sure you don't notice any leaks. Look in your storage compartments and see if you see any signs of leaks, whether it be in the floor or down the walls. Look for all those things. As you're getting ready for the season, that's as good a time as any to do a little spring cleaning on the trailer. Go in and get it spruced up. Maybe restock your non-perishable essentials, toilet paper, paper towels, paper plates, just the things that you'll use as the year goes along. And it's It's also a good time to look at all the stuff that you stuck in there last year and thought, I'll do something with this when I get home, and it's still there. You know, you kind of go through and purge some of your equipment, look all your equipment over good, look your hitches over good, anything need greased. You notice any unusual wear on anything. But just, they do an exterior wash on it. See if you notice anything leaking when you do that. And I will point out at this time on exterior washes, we get a number of phone calls in service where people will say, we've got a leak inside of our camper. Well, tell me about it. When did you notice it? Well, I got it out and pressure washed it for the season and put it up, and the next time I went out there, I noticed there's water leaking. Those window seals aren't designed for much pressure, like high pressure from a pressure washer. Or they clean the sides of them good and quickly, but you've got to be careful if you're using a pressure washer to clean them up with. Especially around those windows, because it will get past those seals. It's not like they're windows like in your house, you know. They will let pressure washers go get by. But that's kind of the long and the short of prepping for spring and maintenance. And the more aware you are and the more often you look at things when you're around your trailer, your tires, your seals, the better off in the long run you'll notice as it starts to wear, and when it's time to give it some attention. Yes, sir?
What about wheel bearings?
So on wheel bearings, manufacturers will tell you pack them every year or every 12,000 miles. I always like to tell folks, one, you'll want to follow what your manufacturer is telling you. But I'll also say, are you going to Miles Landing 3 times a year? Or are you going to Seattle 3 times a year? You know, so you've kind of got to take some of that into account. Definitely a fan of the hand packing versus the grease certs on the ends of the dust caps. But yes, that's something that, as you're going through, is something to give some consideration of. When did I pack these bearings last? How much have I used it since I did pack them? And if that's something that is due for some attention, then by all means go through that. And while you're doing that, check your brake conditions. See if, that's what we do here. If we're doing a repack, you're right there at the brakes, we're checking. We're looking to see if if at any point they've been over greased and it's allowed that grease to soak into those brakes, because that's not ideal. And we're also looking to see if there's any shoes broken or anything, just overall condition. And then at that point too, if there's any adjustments that are needed, we do that on the brakes as well. So these campers are a lot of fun. There's expense tied to it, but it's about like anything, you'll get out of it what you put in, and if you take good care of them, they'll last you. Yes, sir.
You sit on the roof, you got a pre-caulk around the vents or whatever, peel the old stuff off. On the body itself, or with the lights, the joints on the fiberglass or the aluminum, whatever, does that need to be taken off too, or can whatever you would recommend for caulking?
You're going to check condition of that. So anything on the sides of these trailers, Most of the time, if we're using a sealant, it's gonna be silicone. So, look at that and see what it looks like. And if it's getting loose and starting to pull away, it's probably time to just pull it and start from scratch. If it's a couple spots where it's getting a little thin and needs some touch up, you're gonna be okay. You can touch up and go on, but you're looking at the caps over the tops of your doors and windows, and but yeah, as far as if you're doing anything on the sides, you're probably going to be using silicone, and if you're doing anything on the roof, most likely they'll be using the die-core. Anyone else have any questions? You're a lively bunch this morning. How many of you have got reservations already for places this summer? Those few warm days we've had here, it's getting there. We can tell back there it's getting everybody where they're starting to think about it and beginning to get excited about it. We are too. Yes, sir.
Is there sealing you do around the windows or check?
Yes, and that will be the silicone, and a lot of the windows will do what we call a cap seal. So you're checking the top and down the sides to see what the factory sealant looks like and if it needs replaced or touched up.
Okay.
Yes. Anyone else? Do we still have? I think we still got donuts over there. So. I'll be around. I'm here. Yes, sir.
Cleaning on your roof, rubber roof. What kind of products do you recommend for
that? I think it's a Camco product back there. We've got a two-part cleaner back, cleaner and UV protectant.
Okay.
The cleaner is just that. Rinse it, clean it with a brush, and kind of agitate it as you're cleaning, rinse, and then you apply the UV protectant. Kind of helps it. It's a little more pliable. That's just rubber. The roof is just a big piece of rubber laying up there. So.
How often should you put that on?
Ideally included in a yearly maintenance program on it. Yes.
Would you do the roofs and stuff, and what would you charge for that?
We do the reseal on the roof for the UV protecting and the cleaning. I want to say that's $4.99. I'm close at that, but that gets everything cleaned, and then they'll apply the UV protectant.
Okay, how long does that UV protectant last?
Well, like I was telling him, it's something that you're going to include in your yearly maintenance. And it'll have a little effect on that if you're storing the camper in a pole barn. Because at that point you're keeping that roof out of the sun in, and you'll get a little more. Maybe you can go a little longer if you're doing it like that. Yes, sir.
I've got your two-part stuff back here, and I've used it for a while.
Yes, sir.
There's black spots up there on that thing with that cleaner, and I don't want to use anything more. There's some stuff that probably take it off, but I think it would affect your.
Yeah, that rubber's got a little bit of a grain to it.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
Get into that with facts, I read that years ago with my policies, but all the time. You will run it.
You get anything too aggressive, you can't. And you've got to watch what chemicals you use on them.
I just didn't think, well, I probably have to live with Brooklyn Black and just do the best you can. But like I said, it just kind of irritates me that they can't get it all.
Yeah.
You ready to do that?
Have we run into, there's times where there's stains that,
Just, like I said, they just,
leaves, sticks, if they've laid up there and got moisture, and yeah, a lot of times that'll stain or get down in that grain or that rubber, and it can be a little difficult to.
I don't have a pole barn, but I do keep it under a carport.
Sure. Sure. Yes, sir.
Anything you recommend for pine tar on like the rubber roof, removing that?
You can use mineral spirits will break it loose, but you've gotta don't get too concentrated and get that rubber to soften. But yeah, the reason I hesitate, I knew the answer to that. I just don't want to say that and someone go home and put a bunch of mineral spirits on the rubber roofs and then then call up here. Well, you told me that.
It's okay.
There is an art to it.
I've used hand sanitizer some on cars and windshields, and that seems to help loosen it up.
Yeah.
The alcohol, I guess, in there.
Yes. Anyone else? Yes,
Is that
sir.
green brush the one you recommend for rooftops?
This one is, I probably would have to look at the display back there to tell you for sure. I believe that this is the rooftop one. They color code these. I think it's green, blue, and yellow maybe. But we've got a display back there, and I'll check for sure which one is. One is for sides and one's for roofs. So. Yeah, these are just a number, like number of our cleaners, sealants, seal saver, side room seals, keep them treated. And then, like I mentioned, sand fresh.
Seal you have, the one you just held up a second ago in the blue
This
can.
here?
So do you just spray that around your vents and things like that?
This one is, so the majority of where you're going to use this will be on your slide rooms, like your rubber bulb seals and your flap seals on your slide rooms themselves.
Okay.
Yes. Sure. How many of you do clean your awnings? Roll them out. It takes a long time to dry them. And that's another thing here. You know, we've got, I'm trying to think which one of these is the,
Keep reaching. There you
yeah,
go.
there we go. Something that if you've got a day where it's going to allow you to run that awning out as you're prepping and cleaning, go ahead and clean the awning, but let it stay out for a good while, because they do hold moisture, and they will mildew and smell if you leave them wrapped up too tightly. Yes, sir.
How do you, on my older campers, I lower that awning down, and, I had trouble, but on these new ones, is there any way?
Some of them you can collapse the arms and get them to give a little bit. Some of them you gotta get the old ladder out.
I didn't know if there was a way to get that thing down and.
See, and there again, out there we've got motorized lifts. it's pretty painless on that side, but yeah, if you're doing it at home, you gotta get the ladder out, get up there to gain access to the top side. Yes, sir.
You can, if you want to take the backside there, I do. Or take that truck.
Get up in the bed of it.
Or stable, or
Yeah,
then be on a ladder.
yeah. Yes.
So you're recommending that green stuff?
This is the awning cleaner, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
rather than blue.
Yep.
I got a question.
Yeah,
Is this the new whole thing coming out now? A lot of it's gonna be black. Oh, that's
the awnings,
yeah.
we see several of them anymore that have black awnings. That's getting pretty common.
Yeah.
You know, some of the older stuff, it was more white with a color pattern on the awning, but yeah, black's becoming.
Well, popular.
I'll tell you what happens a lot of time. I mean, on awning material, we can usually find something and make it work, but it don't take too long before you call and say, hey, I need to replace the awning on this 2016 Catalina. Well, we don't manufacture that awning anymore, where black's pretty easy to match and replace. Yes, sir.
Slide maintenance. What do you recommend to try to quiet the slide down?
So there is slide lube.
I've tried some like spray lubes for slides. I got a 2015 Jayco Whitehawk. It's got the gear style and all that. I sprayed it and it still does. It works okay, but it just makes a lot of racket there. Extending it. Bring it back.
Some of them do make more noise than others. It's something we probably have to hear, and you know, if it sounds like it's binding or working more than it should, we may need to look at the track system, or is there an adjustment problem, or but as far as lubricating, there is a slide lube. We have a lot of people that come in and use white lithium grease, and it does lube, but that lithium grease is real good at grabbing that road grit and grime, and it's in a perfect location to get all that. You know, a lot of times these slide rooms will be either a straddle of the axles or behind them, and the lithium's just awfully bad about picking up dust and dirt. And, so I would recommend going with something that's designed more for the slides. Yes, ma'am.
So if you do the lube for the slide out, where do you put it?
It's going to depend on how the slide room is made. And a lot of you are going to have what's called a Schwintek slide system. How many of you, when you run your slide room out, you can look at the tracks on the side, and it's just a little zigzagged track all the way? That's a Schwintek slide system. You're not going to do much looping at all on that. It's just, it's not designed to have that done. Now, say you've got a cable operated system. And at that point, you may get into looking at the gears. Is there guides for the track that needs to be lubed? Does your slide room set on? Some trailers have rollers right at the outer exterior wall that the room rolls out as it goes up. And you can check those and see if they need lubricated or any attention. But to tell you where to go to lube the slide room, that's going to vary on who manufactured the slide rail system as to where you would lube those points. Schwintek, they're made to run without having to be lubed. Anyone else? I'm going to turn you all loose then, but I will let you know we'll be here today in service till 5. Walk around here, help yourself, look, shop, enjoy. Got a lot of new stuff in the parts department back there. Hoyt's been hard at it this week, getting some grills and different things set up. Make yourselves at home, and if you have any questions, or if any of you do need to get anything scheduled, come and see me. I'll be here. We sure appreciate you all coming out to these things. It's good to see everyone. And let me know if there's anything I can do to help or answer any questions for you.
He can't make another couple giveaways.
Uh-oh.